for me.
It's an honor to meet you. The judge said I had no business in a courtroom. That I was childish. Just need to get my act together.
You lost your cool.
Stop yelling!
It's primal. Fight or flight.
You were a champ.
And everybody standing behind. Victory in our eyes. Put your fists in the sky.
I am a champ.
It's our time to rise.
I remember your body being totally in sync.
Just give me one chance, okay?
So you want a box?
And I want you to train me. I'll pay you.
You young people think it's all about money.
You don't believe I can go the distance.
This ain't about me here.
Left jab, right cross. I studied all the legendary fights. Ali.
What do you know about Ali? I don't train fighters. I make fighters. Go put on your gear.
This is our time to rise. Born with the heart of a lion.
Get up.
Fight for the pride.
Move
Don't
it.
try
Move
to
it.
defy me.
I want to see how hard you can go at it.
Game on. It's our time to rise.
Ladies and gentlemen, feel the pain!
It's our time to rise.
Pain is useful. Pain is a power that will supercharge him. Make him feel that.
Yes, sir.
Hard nights, days long, no fear, lay strong. Hard nights, days long, no fear, lay strong.
Attitude, habitude, gratitude.
The next super middleweight champion of the world.
This is our time to rise.
It's going to be hell.
Hello, everyone. My name is Heather Hurt with the NRW, and I'm here with, I apologize if I mispronounced the name, Torsten Ruether?
Yeah, it's good. Fine.
I
10 out of 10.
watched like 45 videos to make sure I said it right.
10 out of 10. Good.
Thank you. He is the director of both versions of Uppercut, the English version coming to the US on February 28th. How are you doing? What are your thoughts as you get closer and closer to your official first English film debut?
What do you think? I'm kind of nervous, actually. So it's very thrilling times. We had this European premiere here on Jan 17th with Ving, Rhames attending, and everybody coming across to Berlin with Joanna, Cassidy, and it was back to back those huge fires in Los Angeles. So it was also something like a very, very emotional time for everybody. And of course, yeah, we can't wait to see it now being released there. And we have, which is so kind of my American friends. So everybody obviously is some kind of happy once they have seen the movie. And that, of course, makes me some kind of proud, makes me some kind of also some kind of, staying, in my soul and hoping to have a good release now.
Absolutely. It's definitely a fun, I get fun isn't so much the word, it's a heart moving movie. It's very, very touching. I want to touch on the original version. I'm gonna butcher it for the second time in a row. Lieberhaken. I think I said that right. Versus what we see in the English version in Uppercut. You really dove more into the story for the English version. Why did you decide to go into more of a plot than in what we had in the original?
Yeah, that was a discussion with my US producers and with my colleagues. Of course, they said, okay, this chamber play, Lieberhaken chamber play, has been massive and it was so intense, and we definitely want to keep this intensity. But what we need is something, where in a way the audience can have a breath, in sometimes in the story. So that was, and I thought it is something like a really cool idea to have something like a very modern female character. So I thought, okay, when I got this idea that she could become not, because some people say it's something like a $1 million baby approach, but I said no, because we put this wonderful, interesting, polarizing, and quirky woman in a new field, which was a promoter. She became a promoter. And this was something which was, I think, which is very interesting, especially for the American audience, because boxing is so popular there. And there's a lot of, I tell you, there's a lot of young women's issues these days. So we wanted to give this character another dimension, and that's why we put also Joanna Cassidy in with that pep talk and her, and conflicting with this some kind of experienced woman and that young woman. And the American people, when I wrote this, said, okay, this is something which is not only interesting, but it is unique, because you develop this piece into a direction that has not been seen before. And so I thought, yeah, that would be cool. And also I wanted to, which was very important to me, when we put this set from Berlin to New York City, I said, I want to see New York City. I don't want to shoot New York City-ish in Atlanta or something else. I want to be in the city. So that was another dimension, to have it, something like a little streetwise. I wanted to smell the summer of New York City, the sweatiness and all this kind of stuff, the subway. And so I thought it would be a good combination to put this another time layer in the second dimension in, to not lose intensity with Ving and Luiii, but also to put in something which could attract people in another dimension.
Absolutely, and you got that. And I do want to touch on their relationship in just a second. But one thing that I also found interesting about this was, this is technically a period piece. It doesn't happen too far in the background, but it doesn't happen today. Why did he want to take a step back in time with the first part, like in actual, like the actual timeline of history?
I thought it was very, very interesting because, for example, the blues music is a very, very crucial thing there. And it was important to have something which is a little bit vintage, actually, which you also see in the composition of the pictures, of the grading and all this kind of stuff. So what is today, and you see that with the social media stuff and all this kind of thing. But Ving, for me, was also something like a little bit of a melancholy part, the good old times. You know what I mean? So I think that was very crucial to me, to remember those times when we met each other, when we were curious on each other, and when we talked to each other more. And that happens in the piece. And that happens with these two main characters. And we try to mirror that in the time now. And that was some kind of tricky, because we had to, with the production design, we had to bring out the old iPhones. We had to bring out the old, the Mac computers and all this kind of stuff. But I thought it was worth it. And especially the Buddy Guy blues sound. Yeah, it is some kind of representing those good old times, actually.
There, that's a great way to put it. Didn't think of it that way for sure, but that's yeah. Looking at it now, that's wonderful. To go back to what you were saying at the end of your first of the first question, one thing that's really cool, and Luiii actually brought this up when I was interviewing her, the relationship between Elliott and Toni it's in so many boxing movies, you see the parent and child dynamic. It's not so much the friend dynamic, but you don't get that so much with Elliott and Toni. You get more of this. Yes, he is more of a mentor, but he's doing it in a friendly, let me help you grow perspective, not in a familial perspective. Why did you want that relationship dynamic versus the father-daughter?
So what was important to me is that, the range between these two characters had to be as wide as possible. This guy is in a shabby New York Bushwick gym. He's a Methuselah in a way in boxing. And, in the beginning, he's not a mentor. In the beginning, he's very angry and he's very frustrated. And, to turn the coin, to make this young protege a second generation German immigration chick. That was exactly the tension I wanted, and it was very important for the dialogue writing that the tension could come back in the story, you know, in any second. So these guys, they come closer, but then they get back to be, you know, white from another again. So this had to be something like the roots. This had to be something like the, you know, the platform of the story. So with a father-daughter perspective, that would not have been worked. It was a little bit in the German original, where we also had some, you know, sensitive moments, but that was, to me, here in that one, that wasn't interesting. Interesting was the conflict of the POC immigrant story, but another way than we know it originally. You know, this guy is the POC guy, is the guy who, you know, is the one who is based there, and she's coming. She's the new kid in town. So I thought that was very, very interesting, and that was also something which was very interesting for Ving.
Absolutely. I really loved his growth. Even though it felt very short, you could feel it like in a extended way. It felt very
Yeah,
it felt very powerful.
yeah.
I want to kind of focus on Toni though for a second. One of the really cool things about this movie, of course, is that 8-year jump that we see. Why did you decide to kind of to focus in on her when at that time versus kind of keeping the dynamic of the two of them?
What do you mean? You mean the second time layer?
Yeah, the second time, that during the second time period, why did you decide to kind of more home in on her growth and her development at that point?
Um, I think it was for me, talking to Luiii, portraying her, a very essential point to see something like an inner conflict of this woman these days. And I was interested in showing her loneliness in this very momentum. So she's a privileged person there, but she can't handle, for example, ringside, because she has something like a trauma you know we do not really experience, but we can imagine it, because we will then see how this momentum with Elliott ends in the end. So there's some mysterious riddles. There's some, you know, momentums which you have to combine in a way, but you can, as an audience, combine it the way you like it. You can find your solution for it. And I think she being a promoter in that very night is a symbol to a lot of not only women, but to a lot of players in this world outside, who have to take so much responsibility, who have to fight with so many items and issues all around, and then reduce it in the end to a momentum where it's just important that the baby girl has fell asleep. And I think in sometimes we all should, you know, when Ving says in that very momentum in the movie, that one time always gives me goosebumps, where he says gratitude is the key. And I think this is something which is so decisive for all of us in these very times. So to answer your question, I wanted to, you know, bring all of this together, being grateful in one way, being impatient on the other way, keeping the job done on the third way, and showing that, you know, once you see that, you maybe realize I have not to be ashamed once I feel sometimes also in some kind of that situation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. To go off of what you just said, your original, it was a very similar story, but it's definitely not the same, of course. You're talking about a lot of themes, that individuality, that personal, you know, that those personal struggles, and yet also acceptance. What themes did you get to experience more in this film that you really wanted to grow off of from your previous rendition of this movie?
This time around, it's a lot of common themes which a lot of us have forgotten these times. So it's the question of, again, curiosity on each other's. It's a question of respect, and it's a question of getting things done without harming another person. And what I really liked was something like which I call a generation contract. So what was so important for me is that in this movie, Elliott learns the same way from Toni as the other way around. And so he tells her a lot of personal things. And there was also this kind of past he speaks about. So I guess generation morphing, respect and curiosity, and a lot of admiration to the skills another person has. That might make sense. And there's so much more stuff, what Toni tells about fair play on this soccer game and all this kind of stuff. So I think whatever you like to experience more for yourself, you can choose a lot of elements from this movie once you want to.
And you see that a lot, just to go off of that, you see that a lot in boxing movies in general. You see those mirror elements of it. And that actually goes back to one of the very baseline questions that I asked when I was watching this. What makes boxing so reflective for real life? Why is the sport of boxing to you such a good reflection on a story that you can tell to everybody?
Because I think it's the most archaic sports that we have. It's so, it's just a question what Regina Halmich said, the world champion who trained Luiii for the movie. She said, it's just a question. It's you or me. It's you or me. That's it. And I could have told this story also, I think, on a platform like ballet, but I did not know enough about ballet. And I think the Black Swan movie was one of the best ever. So I did not want, to approach that kind of line. And I knew what we would do with Uppercut is that we could not be something like a comparison to a Creed stuff or something like that, where you have this, this blood, sweat, and tears momentums. That would not be possible for us. But the thing is to say you or me, but also to have the possibility with two people doing that, sports, which could end up in a momentum which is said not you or me, but you and me. That was something which I really found interesting and unique for something like a boxing stuff thing. And that was possible with these kind of dialogues, and especially with this kind of actors doing the dialogues that way. And so I thought that was very interesting.
Absolutely. One more really, really quick question before I wrap up, of course, and this is one of those cliche questions. When an audience member leaves the theater, what is the one thing you want them to walk out with? One thought.
Maybe she or he comes out of the theater, gets in touch with another person coming out of another movie, asking this person, what have you seen and why? So that these guys begin to talk. So again, it's a question of curiosity to each other.
Wow, that's lovely. That is absolutely lovely. Torsten, thank you so much for your time. It was really fun getting to experience the movie. I definitely want to check out the original. I will not deny it. Hopefully I'll get that chance soon. Thank you so much for your time. Uppercut arrives exclusively in theaters on February 28th. Get your tickets right now. You have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
pleasure chatting with you. Love to all my nerds who rule the world.
Nerds rule the world.
Yes, we do.
Thanks. Nerds rule the world.
Thank you.
I love the nerds ruling the world, so more power to you.
Patrick, what up, man? And yes, they do. Nerds rule the world, kid.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Awesome. Kuya P, nerds rule the world. Hello.
Yes, they do. Yes.
Oh,
Nerds rule the world.
I got.
It's in the title of your show, like Nerds Rule the World. Like, I want more Black weirdos on screen, and I don't feel like we ever get to see that very much.
Thank you so much. Nerds do rule the world.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Nerds Rule.
Love it.
Hello, Sarah. Hello, Julian.
Nerds rule. Yes,
Rock on. I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
It's good to see you. I love Nerds Rule the World.
But yeah, there's a heavy nerd component, man.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if you ask me, nerds rule the world. So
Absolutely.
It's your boy Kuya P. Nerds rule the world. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you.
They rule the world, all right.
Yes. Take care, Tony. Thank you, guys.